Guys, thanks for joining us today on TomGirl, where we talk all things sports, entertainment, fashion, and adventure. I'm JJ Jurgens, and just in time for week 1 of the NFL season, we're talking to Fangirl Sports Network founder and CEO Tracy Sandler. Also joining us is one of Tracy's fangirls, Buffalo Bills Fangirl Hayley Clover. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Little pump-up music. Get your girls ready for the game today. All right. Hey, everybody, I'm JJ. You can follow me at TomGirl TV. And thank you so much, Tracy and Hayley, for joining me. Where can everybody follow you guys at?
At 49ers Fangirl.
And you guys can find me at Bills FGSN.
Well, I absolutely love this whole community that you created. So I've been so excited for this interview today. So I can't wait to dive into it, talk all about it. I think it's great. So tell everybody who is not aware of what Fangirl Sports Network is, what it is all about.
So Fangirl Sports Network is a place for female fans to follow their teams on the team level with knowledgeable, passionate, humorous fangirls who also do everything with a lifestyle, female-focused lens so that we take care of all of your game day needs, from stats to recipes to being geared up for the game. Nothing left unturned at Fangirl Sports Network.
And how does this differ from other sports sites out there?
Well, there's the female-focused lens, which I think is very different. We really are talking to women, which I think is something very new on the market. And there are a couple other sites and networks that also have a female-focused lens, but we do it on the team level, and that's the other thing that makes us very different. So you follow your fangirl. What is your favorite team?
Well, we've talked about this because if I had an NFL one that I was so passionate about, I'd be wanting to join your league, but I'm waiting for when you go college. I am a Husker fan.
Okay, so and we had Huskers Fangirl. Yes. You would have the ability to go and follow your fangirl, so you would get all your latest team news and content and stats and scores and everything you could possibly need, updates. But then you would also have all of this lifestyle content that you could take with you on game day, during the week, and all kinds of different things you did.
It also, this is the girly side of it. It also looks really pretty and very attractive. Can you talk about some of the different ways you style the posts and things?
Well, absolutely. And one of the reasons I started it is that I actually said to all the fangirls at our fangirl training camp, I started it because I knew I loved the 49ers and I knew I loved being a girl. And I didn't see a lot of content where those two things met. There seemed to be this idea that you were either a super girly girl who didn't know a field goal from a free throw, or you just loved sports and didn't care about anything female related. And I really wanted to change that. So we do want the post to look pretty and be aesthetically pleasing and have a little bit of that female eye, because female fans are a huge part of the NFL.
Yes.
We make up 45% of the NFL fan base, so there should be content that speaks to us, and we try to make it pretty and aesthetically pleasing, but not also all pink jerseys. So we try to have a good balance there.
You did say you've never met a sequin jersey you didn't like.
I never have met a sequin jersey that I didn't like. That doesn't mean that all female fans seem to feel the same way. Though I have to say, the bedazzled jerseys tend to be really popular, even among men. They like them.
And I'm somebody that doesn't own a pink jersey, at all. And you should see Tracy's house. It's incredible. It's filled with awesome 49er stuff, but a lot of it is sequined and super curly. And I was like, oh, I could totally get into that. Didn't think I would, but I totally could get into a sequin jersey.
No,
People like them.
I know.
They bedazzle.
Where are your places, now that we're on the gear, places where you like to find the best gear?
Well, we like Fanatics. We're big fans of the tailgate collection from American Eagle. We like sheer gear handbags. We like Purse N. So there's a lot of places. But this week, you're going to be able to buy fangirl gear. In about 36-ish hours. You're going to be able to go to shop.fgsn.com and buy some great gear from us. So I will have to add that to my top of my list of places.
For sure.
But we're going to have a lot of fun things. We have a really great t-shirt, a sweatshirt. We have these adorable beanies and scarves. We have kids' tees. So we're really excited about it.
So excited.
Just in time.
I don't have any yet. I want some.
I do. There are teams that I like. I kind of jump on board for, I'm a little Patriots, a little Chargers, a little, I know.
And we've got a fangirl for all of them.
That's awesome. Well, tell me, where were you when this idea hit you and you're like, this is what I want to do?
Well, I was actually, oddly enough, working in politics and I started a blog for fun about the 49ers. I always like to plug the old blog because I loved the name. It was wordy, but it spoke to me. It was the trials and tribulations of my love-hate relationship with the San Francisco 49ers. So it was a little wordy. That's fair. But I started that, and then one day it came to me. I was like, this could be video-based, and I think we could make this something. And I wanted to take the term fangirl and take it from something that sometimes had a negative connotation and turn it into something positive. So it really came to me one day. I want to say it was like February of 2015, and I was like, I have it, 49ers Fangirl. That's what we're going with.
I love it. So how, well, you also, so before that, you were sports reporting, right? Like we're covering, go ahead and talk about.
No, well, I did right after college. I worked at Fox Sports for a while, but mainly behind the scenes. And then I actually worked in politics. I've always been entrepreneurial. I had a personal shopping company, and then I worked in politics. And then it was one day I went back to the blog. I wrote college sports at Michigan when I was in college, obviously. And then kind of went back to writing in the blog. And I was like, yeah, these are my roots. This I love. This is what I want to be doing.
So what steps did you go to start making this dream come true?
That's a very good question.
Lots and lots
And
of
you're
them.
still going through them. But
Lots and lots of steps. Well, coming up with a concept, coming up with a logo, building the site. We've been through a lot of changes with Fangirl. And so I think one of the most important, I don't know if you call it a step or learning experiences, is to be flexible and to be able to pivot and to know what you know and know what you don't know and surround yourself with the people who know what you don't. And so I have done that and have put together a team, and the team has changed and evolved over the years, but everyone has been such an integral part of Fangirl Sports Network and getting it to where it is today.
We'll get into the girls that you have, but besides the girls, what does your team look like?
So I have a spectacular publicist who also runs our brand Instagram and runs mine, and it would, God bless her. She's really, really helpful. She's amazing. Her name is Kelsey. Everyone should work with her. She's incredible. I have an amazing head of business development and partnerships by the name of Jenny. We have a great content manager, a head of production, a chief technology officer, and am I forgetting anybody? I think that's the whole team. I think that's everybody. Yeah, so that is how and they are all, I mean, I wouldn't be able to function, at least not in Fangirl, in life probably, but in Fangirl I would not be able to function without them on a daily basis. They have been so incredible, and bringing Jenny on, who's the head of business and development and partnerships, she really helped me build the rest of the team, and they've taken my dream and turned it very much into reality. So I'm very thankful for them.
And now you started out with 8 teams.
I should start out with one, and then 2, and then 8. So
And now this year it's
and
grown
now it's
to-
32. So and we have
What
15
an
NBA.
awesome jump.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a short amount of time to have that big of a jump as well.
Well, thank you. And it's funny because in year 2, I had really grand plans. I was like, I'm going from 1 to 12. And then I decided, actually, I'm going to go from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 8. It's interesting. There's not that big a difference. There's a little bit of workload difference, but there's not that big a difference between 2 and 8, but there's a huge difference between 1 and 2. It's astronomical. It's very interesting. They say that with kids too, which I think is interesting. Like 1 and 2 is a big jump, but like 2 and 3, that's what my parents said, not as big. But now, yeah, we've gone from 8 to 32. We had 15 NBA girls this NBA season, which was great. They are all fantastic, and we learned a lot during that process. But it definitely is a big jump. It changes things dramatically, and there are 32 fangirls, and you heard my team is amazing, but there's not 27. There's not 32 of us. So, but we work together. We make it work. There was a lot of pre-production that went on before the season, putting together the girls' social media playbooks and our content calendars so that we were very prepared, going in. But with 32 and on social media, there are always glitches and things that you have to deal with, but you kind of just have to deal with it.
Let's talk about, since we have one of your fangirls right here.
I'm one of the new 32.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
So what's like the process you put her through for this new season and all the other girls?
Well, Hayley was recommended by our Seahawks fangirl, Christina, which I say that because that's so what we're building with this Fangirl Nation, that we have all these girls and say, I know a girl would be great, which is, what a great thing to do. So she was recommended by Christina, and I took a look at her writing, and I looked at some of her on-camera stuff. We had an interview. We talked on the phone. I can usually tell really quickly if it's a good fit. I usually know really, really quickly. And the girls all seem to really fit the personality of their teams. it tends to work out that way.
What are qualities that you look for?
So excitement, wanting to be a part of it. When a girl hems and haws and they're not so sure and maybe it's not the right time, then I feel like then it's probably not. Sports knowledge, really truly knowing what they're talking about. It doesn't work if someone's like, I just think it's cool, which is great and I appreciate that, but it doesn't work. So sports knowledge, love of their team, bubbly personality, humor, passion, and understanding what we're doing and understanding the difference between it being a sports network with a female focused lens and just like a bunch of girly girls talking sports, because that's a very important distinction.
Yes.
And so that is really what I look for. And I can just usually tell pretty quickly, I would say within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I know. And when I ask the girls why they want to do it, you can tell in the response.
Hayley, why did you want to do it?
Oh, well, JJ, we've known each other a little bit now, but I, born and raised in Buffalo, and when you're born in Buffalo, you have absolutely no choice but to be a Bills fan. So since I was little, I've been going to season, my parents have been season ticket holders since I was 5 or before me, but I've been going to games since I was 5. So it was just, bred in me. So I'm a very passionate fan. So that was easy, wanting to talk about the Bills and wanting to talk about football. And I'm already going to our favorite Bills bar every single Sunday. Everyone's already there. So being able to live tweet the games and do live Facebooks with the other, with my opponent fangirl for the week, it just sounded like so much fun. And Christina's actually an old AfterBuzz host here as well too. So that's how we met, and she absolutely loved it and had such a great experience. So I wanted to jump right in.
So tell me more about that. So on the game day, they talk to they live tweet each other.
Oh, yeah.
And we do live Instagram lives and Facebook lives with your opposing fangirl. So we'll go about, I want to say 30 to 45 minutes before game time. For instance, Niners are playing the Vikings this week, so Vikings fangirl and I will go on and we will do a Facebook Live together to preview the game. That's
great.
And which is, great for both audiences to see a different perspective. And who do you guys open against? I'm sorry.
The Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens.
Yes.
So you and Mackenzie, head to head.
Oh, yeah. Bring it, girl.
I love it.
Gauntlet's been thrown.
Yeah, exactly. I challenge you here.
I know from following you that you guys also did like a draft, or did you do something in Vegas?
Yes. A friend of mine did it. She is she's my friend Caitlin. She is like a fantasy football extraordinaire. She's a huge Dolphins fan. So in a different world in which she didn't have a brand new baby and a brand new puppy, she would have probably loved to be Dolphins fangirl. But she's a huge Dolphins fan, huge football fan. So she goes to Vegas with one of her fantasy football teams, and they have a draft. They have T-shirts. I mean, they do like a whole day.
Fun.
So we had her do an Instagram takeover for us, and it was really fun to watch.
I love that because, of course, being at work, I see all my coworkers in there. The guys are all getting together on Sunday so I was like, this is just such a. I love that this whole group of women just headed to Vegas and did this. I just think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and they had a blast, and they had a whole thing, and the team names are great, and it's just fantasy football's so fun.
Do you play fantasy football? Yeah,
I do. I'm in a it was an all-female league until we last minute needed a 10th, and now the 10th team is 2 men share the team. But we're still called the Miss Piggy Skins. We're not changing our name based on our new members. So I still do. Do you do it?
I don't, but I watch my boyfriend draft every year, and I need to at this point because I'm still, even when he's doing it, I'm like, no, why would you take him? You should be taking him. It's so much fun. I'm always just like, I don't think I have enough time to follow it as much as he does. I mean, he is watching his phone and everything like every single second, and I'm always like, oh, I just. I would get too competitive to not watch it all the time. Yeah.
And sometimes I actually think I know too much to be good at fantasy football because I look at things like it's a lot of luck, and I look at, well, okay, how is the team? How is the team going to be as a whole? And I look at like matchups, and I think about all these things, and then it's like you have 3 seconds to draft, like your turn is coming up. But it's not really about that. It's about where's that player, that wide receiver? Maybe he's on an 0-16 team, but is he getting all the ball thrown at him on every play? Then he should be on your fantasy football team. So that's kind of, it's interesting fantasy, but it's fun. I do think it's really fun.
What are some of the other, I know that so much goes into this. I know you're talking about photos coming in and all getting photos of all the girls. Can you talk more about like the business tools and kind of steps that you needed to do to create all this?
Yes. So social media is our world, as Hayley can very much attest to. So social media is very much our world, and that is where the fangirl lives, and that is where her followers spend most of the time with her. So coming up with a plan for social media on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, the best way to communicate with the girls on a daily basis. For instance, we had our podcast go live today, so we use Slack, and if you haven't used Slack, you should. It's amazing. And so we can communicate with the girls like, hello channel, here's the link, here's this, here's that. It makes it a great way to communicate with each other. And then I think I mentioned earlier, we have a social media playbook that each of the girls get that talks about what they are expected to do every day, every month. What are their team hashtags, when they should be posting, all that kind of stuff. And then we help them with social media tools to help schedule out some of their posts. So there's a lot that goes in behind the scene. And then it's, of course, building those social media channels for every single girl. Every girl's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We as a brand are on YouTube. So that makes it a little bit easier. But, it's that and putting together a content calendar and just making sure, it's a national something day every day of the week. But when you're on social media, you want to be a part of that if it makes sense for your brand. So just kind of being on top of that. And really, more than anything, making sure that the girls are comfortable and have the tools they need.
I was going to say, they've made it so unbelievably easy for us to be able to know exactly what is going to work on social media, and then giving us the free range to post about then based on that day's theme, what we really like about our team that works within those guidelines. And it helps make our feeds very aesthetically pleasing and just so much more fun. And it does allow us to then have this as a fun side gig that we really use as an outlet and get to enjoy and talk about, and then still have our everyday lives as well. So, and it wouldn't be possible without them doing all of that on the back end for us. So it's pretty amazing.
And shout out to Emily Hertling, our content manager, who really
Killing it.
did an amazing job putting that all together. I use the word amazing a lot, but I try to only use it when I mean it. She really did do an incredible job.
Well, and how hard is that? I mean, actually, you have that, but I know you really want to keep it positive. You don't want it to be people are now at the bar having too much and they're getting, to drink or being negative or being those angry fans. So, how hard is that? We'll see, I guess,
Being
to
the
manage.
Bills Mafia?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard distinction because a lot of fans do go that direction, but I have a few basic rules. We don't make fun of injuries. We don't get mad at someone on social media because he gets hurt a lot. Football's a really tough sport. And I saw that a lot. Jerick McKinnon, who's the 49ers' #1 running back, tore his ACL in a non-contact injury in practice on Saturday. He's out for the season. And a number of people on Twitter, on Instagram were, reaching out and saying, well, isn't he injury prone? What a waste of money. No. When's the last time you were on a football field? Like, we don't talk like that. And there's no reason to. We're fans, and fans have a right to say, I don't agree with that call, or I think that was a bad call, or that guy missed his assignment. And fans can get mad and fans can get frustrated, but we are not mean. Like, we do not refer to players as trash because they missed a tackle. Like that, I just have no place for that. So we do try to keep it positive, in those kind of ways. Your team is 2-14. I don't expect the girls to be like, you guys, this season was awesome. I get that you're like, I think the coach should be fired. I think they should keep QB, and their defensive line's got to go, because we're fans, and that's what fans do.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna. We're not there to bash people and be super negative.
Because you do have to keep it real, because that's what the fans will be talking about. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Browns fangirl is new this season, so that's good.
But you know what? Bless her heart. She's also Spurs fangirl, and she asked me if she could be Browns fangirl, in April. No, before March. Should I have a question? I really would like to be Browns fangirl. And I was like, are you being serious? And she said, yeah. And I was like, good for you. Absolutely. Congratulations. You're a Browns fan. Because that fan base, though, is incredible.
I was going to say,
so
but how
loyal.
amazing, you think maybe somebody wouldn't want to do that for that team. And then all of a sudden, they've got an amazing draft. Hard Knocks is in Cleveland, which is just such an incredible thing for the city. Like, it's so cool to watch, even as a Bills fan. there's just a lot of things then going on and happening that you wouldn't have maybe even expected last season. So,
But that's true fans. I mean, she's truly a fan because Browns fans, they have not had a lot to cheer about, like nothing. And she is a true fan. But that fan base is really incredible in that way. So I think, and they may actually have a decent season. I mean, I think they're going to actually win a few games. So that would be a massive improvement.
Yeah. Well, what I was drawn to too is, like you said, like you guys are real fans. You are all so engaged in the 49ers organization. Can you talk about the experiences, what you get to do with them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've been really lucky to cover a team that has given me tremendous access. They've totally credentialed me. It took time to build that relationship, of course, but they credential me, and I'm a beat writer for FGSN, and so I'm at practice, and I'm at the press box, and I'm in the locker room, and I'm on the field, and I'm at all the press conferences. In fact, I'm going up for practice tomorrow, and it's been an incredible experience. I always say somewhere the 11-year-old me is just dying. She's like, what? But it's been an amazing experience, and especially as a fan who's really turned reporter covering the team, it's been pretty awesome, and the experiences have been great. I'm going to be in Minneapolis this weekend, and so this will be the first year where I'm doing the majority of road games. So that's going to be a very cool experience. 2 of them happen to be in LA, so that worked out really nicely. But I'm really excited. I'll be in Green Bay. I mean, these are the things where I have to pinch myself because these are not necessarily things I thought would ever happen in my life.
Do you have a favorite moment in that so far?
That is
Put you on the spot, sorry.
I think it's a very good question. I think probably my favorite moment would be the first time I was on the field pregame. That was one of those moments where I was like, oh, this is so cool. And it's also an interesting moment because you really drives home the fact that football players are going to work. When you're on the field and you're watching them warm up, and the same would be true of practice and training camp, it's work. It's a game, but this is their job. And it's a dangerous job, but that really drives it home when you're that close. You're like, oh, right, they're at work. Just like, we're going to work. That's them going to work, which is kind of cool to see.
Oh, yeah.
I do think you forget that. That's so interesting you said that. Because when you watch you expect so much, and there's so much pressure from us as fans. And then, it's like, oh my God, are you amazing at your job every single day? No.
Yeah.
No.
You try, but you're just not.
Yeah, no, and you know what? Joe Staley does not come to the set when I'm filming or doing a podcast or writing a blog post and be like, "You're terrible. How did you miss that comma?" And Richard Sherman actually said that a few weeks ago in a press conference. There was a video that went viral of him in practice up against Marquise Goodwin, and Marquise Goodwin really smoked him, and everyone's like, "Oh, does Sherman still have it?" and this and that. And Kyle Shanahan used it as a teachable moment that we're in practice to practice, and what the outside world says about practice doesn't matter. And Richard Sherman said that. He said it's really the same thing as if you turned in one of your articles and it hadn't been edited yet and you hadn't checked for spelling. You just turned it in because you wanted someone to read it and give you some feedback on it, and then they judged you on that entirely. It's like that's actually a very good comparison.
Yeah. Are you hopeful that down the road some of these other girls will get as close to the teams as you have been fortunate enough to do?
Absolutely.
And,
Yes, that would be absolutely fantastic. But the girls have been, they're building those relationships and building their content, but I think that would be fabulous.
What are some of the other goals that you would like to see with this network?
Well, so we want to finish the NBA by very early next year. Next up, we'd like to have MLB and NHL. Oh, Dodgers.
Or Kings.
Okay, one of the great.
There you go, JJ.
I know, I'm like, all right.
No, she might have to.
Until you get to college and the Huskers, but
Well, she might have to fight Christina for Dodgers.
Yeah.
Christina's a big Dodgers fan, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I think the ultimate goal is that Fangirl Sports Network is the place that female fans go for pretty much all of their needs. I always say if you're, let's say you're a Bills fan and it's Monday morning and you want to know how many interceptions Peterman threw and didn't throw.
Yeah, exactly.
What was his touchdown to interception ratio? Because obviously it's going to be so many more touchdowns than interceptions.
Yeah.
And you wanted to see LaShawn McCoy's, what what Shady's like first down runs looked like, as opposed to his third down run, that kind of, how did they do on third down, all of that kind of stuff. But you also were really cold at the game yesterday, and you feel like you probably need a new sweatshirt. And then also, you have 15 minutes to work out today, so you'd like to pull up that halftime workout to get that in. And then on top of that, you really
want to ruin your workout and eat buffalo chicken.
Or you want to, because you had that workout, you want to be healthy, one of the two. And so you're going to go and find, there was that tailgate recipe I saw for healthy buffalo wings. So I want it to be like the go-to place for the female fan where she knows she can find everything she needs.
And where are each of the fangirls like finding that information?
Where
for these guys, like to do their own, like if she's like, okay, I have to post a workout, or I have to post a drink,
plug
or
one
I have
of them
to.
quick?
Yes, please.
Well, so our Saints fangirl, Megan, she made this shirt. So she's getting a lot of her information from her own brain. But she made this lace up. She has her own company.
At Fangirl Lace Ups.
Yeah, and
That's great.
so like a lot of the girls are so incredibly talented at different things that again fit into the theme of this network. And so, they're getting a lot of that inspiration just from their own experiences. I get a lot of my inspiration from Pinterest, of course. And then it's funny, a lot from just people back home. We have a great Fangirl Nation post that we do on Tuesday, and I've been featuring a bunch of friends and girls that I know from my community back home because they're just real fangirls, and it's really cool to see.
Good.
No, so it's just, a lot of pulling in from your actual hometowns and stuff too.
And we're creating that content. So we have those workouts, those recipes on the site. So we're creating that content and pushing it out so that our Fangirl Nation, as it were, knows that they can find it through us. And we get inspiration, of course, from a variety of places, but we try to bring in content that we know we're interested in and then create it. We're actually launching our new slate of content this week. But there's a number of things like that on the site. And then you brought up Fangirl Nation, and that really is what we're trying to build. This is a community of women who love sports and love talking about sports. We have our first live event this week, and we want to have more so that it's a place for women to come together and watch football and basketball and baseball and talk about it together.
I loved how a lot of them did draw from the hometown or the town the team is in. And I find that fascinating because I know a lot of the girls that I know that like when you go and travel and you go to another team sport, you don't know. Like if you came to Nebraska, I would tell you, you have to try a runza. And everybody's like, a runza? What is that?
What is that?
So it looks like this little dough ball of bread, and then inside is like beef and cabbage, and there's either like there's different ones. There's cheese runzas, Italian runzas, all different things. But that's what it's in our stadium.
Delicious.
And But and so I picked up on a few of your fangirls, like those kind of things. And I'm like, oh, that's fascinating to know. I wouldn't have known about that cocktail for pre-gaming, or like different things. It's fun to like get a sense of what the community like is if you were go to one of those games.
And like Hayley, I think the girls do pull from their cities and communities. On Saturdays, everyone posts from a favorite restaurant place in their city. It could be a restaurant, it could be a sightseeing place, it could be a food item that's famous to their city, but everybody pulls and posts about it because it does give the rest of the fangirls and the rest of the country an idea, and people travel for games. So it's good to know what to look for in different cities.
Definitely. All right, well, I have a quick game. We're going to take a little break. Just quick questions for you guys. Yeah, and then we'll come back to a few more questions. All right, so this is just called Fangirl Faves. So it's just kind of rapid fire. I'll let each one of you answer your answer to the question.
Okay.
All right, so Fangirl Faves. Item of fan gear you own.
My bedazzled Jimmy Garoppolo jersey.
It's a player's jersey that I have from a good family friend that was on special teams on the Bills. So it's like a legit jersey, so it's really cool.
That's very cool.
Nice, very cool. Yeah. All right. Favorite part of the game?
Ooh.
I know.
Do you mean like a favorite play or a favorite?
It could be anything.
For the
I'm
Bills,
thinking,
it's
like,
tailgating. And then once you get into the stadium, there's something still about kickoff that I just, the chills you get after, like, they fly over the planes and the big American flag, and then, here we go. You still have hope at the beginning of the game.
It's true.
So probably the beginning for me.
And actually, piggybacking on that, I'm going to get a little specific. I hope it's okay.
Yep, for
rapid
sure.
fire. But a few years ago, the 49ers played the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football Thanksgiving. It was 2014, and they had come off an NFC Championship loss. So it was actually Harbaugh's last year, and that the game started. It was Thanksgiving night. The stadium was full. The planes flew over. It felt like a playoff game. By
Yeah.
2 plays into the game, it was a complete and utter disaster. And it was like, it would literally nothing. My dad said nothing good happened in that game once kickoff happened. And he's right. But that feeling right
Oh,
before,
God,
I was like,
it's so
I was
good.
like almost teary. I was like,
Yes.
this is so cool. Until it was not.
Yeah.
All right, favorite player?
Past or present?
Either.
Steve Young.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to say Kyle Williams.
Sports memory. This doesn't have to be. This can be you of your own personal or with your team or any team. Just favorite moment in sports.
Oh God.
I have a few. I was at the 2012 Super Bowl, and even though even though they lost, it was in New Orleans, and the lights went out. You might remember the blackout Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Beyonce.
Beyonce,
Yeah.
she took out the lights. She performed, and the lights.
Happy birthday! It's her birthday today.
Oh, is it? Happy birthday,
there we go.
Beyonce. May the lights always go out. Or always turn on. I'm not sure. But it was, they almost won, and that was a really cool, amazing opportunity to be there. But a recent one was I was at the Super Bowl a couple years ago when the Patriots came back against the Falcons.
man.
And that
Jeez.
was probably, I was actually the best 2 Super Bowls, and both were great. But that was, I mean, to see that kind of come back, I don't think you'll ever see anything like that ever again.
Yeah.
So it's just a total sports moment having nothing to do with the 49ers.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. How was that with people around you? And
I
going,
mean, it was-
this is insane.
It was pretty crazy. I was like, it was one of those things where in the beginning of the third quarter, I was like, okay, well, if they don't, start, and I was pulling for the Patriots, so I was like, if they don't start to pull it together, I'm going to maybe try to leave a little early. And then all of a sudden there was that Edelman catch.
Yeah.
And I was like, I turned to the guy next to me and I was like, they're going to win. And he was like, no way. I was like, they're going to win. Just mark my words. They're going to win.
That's so funny. Mine has to be just because it's so recent. Last year when we finally made the playoffs, it was just such a crazy way to make the playoffs. We shouldn't have made the playoffs, and I like bawled my eyes out. I mean, it was such a awesome feeling as a Bills fan. I had never ever seen a postseason playoff game ever. And it
In the
was
locker room when they
amazing.
made the playoffs
Oh
was
my
amazing.
God. I mean, that's just like Kyle Williams, the guy I said was my favorite player. He's very much the heart and soul of the team. And his sons were in the locker room when he found out. And it was going to be his last year, possibly. And then when they made it, he came back this season. And, oh, God, they were crying. It was just like, this is so cool. Yeah.
And one thing on that Super Bowl, because people will get mad at me, I understand that it was played in 2013, but it is the 2012 season. I just want to make that clear. I will get
Amazing.
comments.
All right, this one should be easy. Tailgate food item.
Chicken wings.
Soft pretzels.
Ooh, yum.
Game day drink.
Bloody Mary.
I'm just a vodka soda girl all the time. It's not that exciting, but if things
does
are
the
really
job.
going bad, a dirty martini.
Your favorite stadium.
Ooh.
I've only been to a couple, but because of that, I just have to say I still call it Ralph Wilson Stadium. It's not. It's New Era Field now. My home stadium.
I'm going to have to go with Candlestick Park. Though I do like Levi Stadium, I'm going to have to go with Candlestick Park.
Okay. And then this one hasn't happened yet, but your favorite dream moment, maybe that dream you have of like a moment you want to experience.
A Super Bowl win, please.
Yeah.
Before I die.
A Super Bowl win that I'm covering. I mean, that would be like amazing to be there when they would win the Super Bowl and be covering it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Now, your favorite part about the Fangirl Sports Network.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
that is all.
It's your final one.
I mean, mine has to be just being part of a whole new community of women, especially like-minded women, is really, really awesome. Just during our training camp that we had, I met so many awesome girls that I know will become good friends and will be there to help with other things down the road too, in careers and everything. So it's just a really great community to be a part of.
And I think for me, it's seeing that community come to fruition, and that even, there are mornings on Slack where someone will write out and be like, hey guys, I'm going to be downtown. Does anybody want to do, get some photos for our Instagrams? Let me know. I have a camera and I had some thoughts, and, oh, I would like to. Or like, hey guys, I saw this article about social media that I thought you would find really helpful. And I'm like, this is what we're building. And that makes me so happy because the girls are so supportive of each other and are building such camaraderie. And so to just see it kind of happen and come to fruition. And I have to say, so far at our Fangirl training camp, where 22 of the 32 were there, and to see everyone there in their team shirts, we did a video with, I love Fangirl Nation, and I'm, of course, I almost cried. I'm a very emotional person, but I was like, this is, I literally one day was like, I'm going to start 49ers Fangirl, and now here it is kind of amazing to watch.
Yeah, that's so incredible for you, and I think what you're doing is so wonderful. Just before we go, I know some people might have a few more questions for you about building that. So how did you stick to it when maybe there was times when you thought, oh, this is bigger than me, or, times that you wanted to quit or stop? What pushed you through?
Well, I don't think I've been very lucky, at least thus far. I haven't found a time where I've wanted to quit or stop. But on the days that are particularly stressful or particularly exhausting, I think it is kind of a little bit what you said. It is bigger than me, and I don't mean that to sound obnoxious, but we're at a very interesting time for women in all sorts of industries, and I think it's such an empowering thing that we're building. And I want girls growing up to know that they too can cover sports, and they can love sports, and they can love all aspects of their personalities. And I think it's just an important thing, and to have an empowering place where it's about sports and it's about your talent and about your passion, and that we're cultivating that and cultivating that community. I see that going far and wide in the future. So to me, I feel like that, and at the end of the day, I'm also really lucky. I get to do what I love. And so no matter how hard my day is on a business level or how stressful, et cetera, I'm doing what I love, and it's a fun, amazing thing to do. And I always remember how lucky I am for that.
Yeah, that's great. So what kind of things are coming up in the future for you? And how can people get involved? I know you have an event Thursday and things like this.
Yeah, we have our first live event, Fangirl watch event at Rush Street in Culver City. And we're going to be, I think previewing the merchandise and shopping the merchandise.
But the merchandise will be come Thursday. You can buy the merchandise.
Oh, that's so exciting.
But you can just go to fgsn.com and click the shop tab, or you can go to shop.fgsn.com. So we have a lot of actually exciting things surrounding the merchandise coming up. The first live event, and it's week 1. We debuted our new site, our new logo, and
a lot of great content, video
a lot of
content
great content.
coming.
So our new podcast premiered today. We're previewing our new slate of content tomorrow, and then that starts, Thursday, and then goes into next week. And we have a lot of really fun shows coming up that I think everyone are really going to enjoy.
When can the podcast, is that weekly, or when can people catch that?
It's a weekly podcast. It will be live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is called Fangirl Talk, and it's hosted by me and Jaguars Fangirl. And we used to host it under a different name, but now it's new and improved.
That's amazing. You guys make it a whole night. Watch you guys at 5, us at 6.
I put that in my Instagram story.
What a lineup. I love it. All right. Any other last thoughts before we wrap up tonight? Anything you're going to talk about?
I would just love to tell everybody where to find us, if that's okay.
Of course.
So as I mentioned, fgsn.com. On Instagram, our brand handle is at Fangirl Sports Network. Twitter at Fangirl Sports, Facebook at Fangirl Sports Network. You see the theme here. And that if you have any team you want to follow, you just type in at Team FGSN. So at Bills FGSN, at Eagles FGSN, and they will pop up. I have had a couple people who actually typed in at Team FGSN, so I wanted to make that clear. So that there
your favorite
team. So I just want to make sure that was clear. And that's how you find your fangirl. But keep up with us. Let us know. Give us feedback if there's something you want to see that we're not covering. Let us know. We are here for the fangirls. So. That's what I have to say about that. And we are very lucky to have such an incredible group of fangirls, including Hayley. But it's really been, in 32, it's unusual to not have one person or whatever isn't an issue in any company as you're growing. And I've been very lucky. These 32 women are incredible. So I'm very pleased.
That's wonderful. Well, I can't wait. Everybody follow them, follow the whole organization. I think it's just fabulous and much, much needed. So best of luck to you with building it all. Yeah. Thank you. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week where we have Dr. Aaron from Good Day La La Land. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.